Thank you, Dan. Great stuff. Now, for our last formal presentation of the day and our second case study, Her Majesty's Revenue and Custom Department is a major UK employer with over 50,000 staff and a complex property portfolio up and down the country. So how are they dealing with the new normal? Let's hear from them and one of their facilities service providers, Atalian Servest. Here is the HMRC's Deputy Director of Estates, Simon Sharpe, along with Pam Coulson and David McGookin, both directors of Atalian Servest.
Thank you, Martin, and thank you everyone for attending today's session. Good afternoon. It's my great pleasure to be talking through our experiences today with one of our key partners at HMRC for the benefit of the Workplace Futures Conference. Our topic today is Making It All Work, an FM case study. It's been an exciting time but challenging with our introduction to our HMRC contracts whilst we mobilised during the COVID pandemic. Over the next 20 minutes or so, we'll talk through our experience of mobilising those contracts in large, complex new buildings and services throughout the UK in the middle of a global pandemic. We'll just take a short minute to introduce ourselves initially. My name is David McGookin. I'm the UK Sales Director for Atalian Servest, covering integrated facilities management and technical services.
Hello, I'm Simon Sharpe. I'm from HM Revenue and Customs, and I'm the Estates Deputy Director responsible for all of our services nationally to our customers, both HMRC and other government departments.
Hi, I'm Pam Coulson. I'm a Business Director for Integrated Solutions for Atalian Servest.
Over to you, Simon.
Thank you very much, David. So I'll spend a little bit of time just explaining the background to what HMRC has been doing as part of its transformation in recent years. So where we've been is recognising a need to transform our HMRC organisation across a number of work streams, but today we're going to be talking from the estates perspective. And we've been on a long journey to deliver a range of new high-quality buildings for our customers, equating to essentially 13 regional centres around the nations, together with some specialist and transitional sites for our people. This is considered the first part of the government's Hubs programme, and we work closely with the Government Property Agency, and HMRC essentially is the lead for phase one of that Government Hubs programme. So this is all about changing the environments, everything we can deliver for our customers to ensure we maximise how people work to deliver the services and the tax services and benefits to people across the UK. So if we could just move on to the next slide, thank you. So just a few numbers around this. So HMRC, at the time we began our transformation a few years ago, we were operating from approximately 170 offices nationwide. And that was a real combination of estate, some legacy estate, not the best quality, 30, 40 years old in some cases, and a huge range of sizes, up to some very large, good quality buildings in our Newcastle area as well. Our plan has been throughout our transformation to consolidate down to a required number of buildings to meet the business need of HMRC and other government departments, supporting that wider HMRC objective. And as well as the building, the commissioning and agreeing leases for these sites, the key for us was agreeing a way of operating our services that was different from the past. And we agreed on an approach to deliver these services across three areas, the north, central and south. and tied this in with mobilising with our new service partners as we demobilised from a 20-year historic PFI arrangement, which ended at the end of March 2021. So our focus has been on working in a strategic way with partners and really building that joint understanding of what we want to achieve for our customers. And part of that has been a very open and honest approach. Firstly, getting the right type of contracts in place, both for hard FM, soft FM, and security, but then working with suppliers in partnership to understand what makes both parts of each arrangement tick as well as possible. So that's included things like 360-degree feedback from all levels within our organisations with all suppliers, and working to use that to build very, very good joint business plans that we keep under review on top of our day-to-day contract management and operational meetings that take place on week, month on month. So if we could move to the next slide, please, David. This slide, unsurprisingly, refers to the last 16 months or so and the need for our COVID response and delivering safe working to our people. So this has been a challenge because not only have we been transforming and changing the footprint of our estate and staff moving from buildings that have been closed to new locations, this has all happened during the period where we've had to adapt and quickly change how we operate since March 2020. And we've done that in a number of ways, but my focus here is how we've worked with suppliers very early in that period to understand what everybody could bring and brought our thoughts together to work in the safest possible way. So not only were we obviously following the BEIS government guidance, doing COVID risk assessments, looking at the interventions we could make to make working in the office as safe as possible, we also worked to look at the best interventions and thoughts from all the way across our supply chain. And with my colleagues here today, that early involvement was very important. And as well as getting all the basics in place, we did then bring in a set of measures that colleagues will talk about a little bit more, I'm sure, later, to ensure that those staff that really needed to be in our buildings, ultimately delivering key things for government and our obligations, were able to do so as safely as possible. At the same time, we had to support colleagues working from home. This involved a huge amount of delivery of IT equipment, furniture, and so on, underpinned by that management support that you would expect. And suppliers have worked with us really well to enable that to happen. And as I'm sure many would have experienced, the teething troubles, perhaps in March and April last year, we now have a very, very solid foundation where on any given day across the HMRC teams, we may have between 50 and 60,000 people working at home successfully every day, complementing those that are working in our offices safely. We were also able to help the wider public sector as well by provisioning space for key operations in DWP and other organisations such as the NHS requiring free, easy access car parking that we were able to do for them very early in the process. So if we could just move on to our next slide. And I think this really covers our immediate response in this last 16 months, but really how we got the teams to work well together. So staff working from home, rolling out the hygiene steward model that we have delivered across all HMRC sites to benefit our staff and our tenants. That's all the cleaning and the touch points, etc. And one thing I wouldn't forget is the close work with our HR colleagues, health and safety experts, and the trade unions to get very good joined up processes and that has worked well to keep us working in the way that we have done. And as we start to welcome more colleagues back to offices, we are very well set to do that in the safest possible way, recognising the changing government guidance and the route map going forward. So I think, David, that's probably all from me. If I could hand back to you.
It's over to Pam now. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, David and Simon. So Simon's just talked a little bit about the transformation that HMRC have gone through, and just touching on where Atalian Servest fit into that. You will have seen from Simon's slides that there are 3 regions. Atalian Servest, we currently manage the North region for soft FM services, which includes cleaning, catering, porterage, reception and pest, just to name a few. And we have Newcastle, which is a large regional centre where we run all the soft FM services there, which includes the same as the North, but also help desk and security. We then have the central region for hard services. And within that central region, we're responsible for all hard services, including projects and help desk. Next slide, please, David. Just want to give you a bit of an idea of the mobilisation plan and the number of buildings within the North and Central region. The table on the left demonstrates the split between hard and soft services, the orange being hard services and the black being soft. The map on the right highlights HMRC's regional centres and transitional centres, the numbers corresponding to the first column within the table on the left. As you can see, we mobilised our first regional centre, which was Newcastle, back in April 2018, and have continued that journey with HMRC. We have continued the mobilisation throughout the pandemic, which has had its challenges, and we are on track to complete the last regional centre due to be mobilised in June 2020, which is Glasgow. Throughout the pandemic, we have worked in partnership with HMRC and their other supply chain partners. By responding quickly to out-of-scope services and items such as sneeze screens, sanitizer units, hazardous tape, barriers, deep cleans, just to name a few. We have retained and redirected catering operatives to hygiene stewards to support touchpoint cleaning, which has provided confidence to HMRC colleagues when attending buildings, whilst also preventing the need for furlough. We have supported both HMRC and the NHS, with parking being used for testing, and we have a huge amount of support from HMRC with the development of a new sustainable catering model that is fit for the future. At Atalian Servest, we worked very quickly early in the pandemic to source alternative suppliers that were not being rediverted to the NHS. This meant that we were able to meet HMRC's requirements and very quickly respond to requests such as sanitizer, barriers and sneeze screens. We worked closely very early on with HMRC to understand and agree how we would support those colleagues who needed to shield. And as previously mentioned, we've prevented furloughing of our catering team by retraining them and upskilling them to carry out touchpoint cleaning every 15 minutes throughout HMRC's buildings as we redeployed them as hygiene stewards. Handing over to you, David.
Thanks, Pam. I'll just touch on some of the wider areas of focus that we've had since day one from the central region of HMRC's contract, which is predominantly hard services. I think it was clear from the start what HMRC's expectations were. It was quite a evident that there was a long-term planning and partnership approach to the rollout of the HMRC estate. It was long in the planning from HMRC before the procurement started, and it continues to be that we have a partnership approach in relation to how we operate. Some of the things, as opposed to what a normal contract may well look like, it's very, very focused on life cycle management, whereby we work very, very closely with the capital investment teams to ensure that we have the right support and the right condition surveys in place from day one of the operational contract. Some of the things that's what's important in relation to what HMRC are looking for. It's a huge mobilisation of a very large number of complex either new build or redevelopment opportunities in the wider estate. So interim services are key to make sure that nothing is dropped in relation to the existing contract moving on to the new contract. And on the construction contracts, it's clear that soft landings is important, so we've adopted that strategy overall. And basically, the compliance management and the data that's required to deliver the contracts on an ongoing basis is critical to the safe future working of the HMRC estate. So taking into account what's important and what the expectations were, our approach has been to ensure that we have a detailed asset verification exercise. We have data that fulfills that asset verification exercise. And more importantly, we have flexibility to ensure that as construction projects evolve and COVID has had some impact in relation to the start dates of the various regional centres, that we've had that flexibility to ensure that the ongoing programmes are not impacted. And some of the softer side in relation to what our approach is, there's a huge social value commitment in relation to the contract as well. So apprentices have continued to be employed and recruited through the whole COVID period. And the quality management system is critical to ensure that the reporting exercise and the reporting data that's available and fulfilled back to the contract is available at the touch of a button to both client and contractor staff. Just touching fairly quickly on some live examples and some practical examples of things that we've had to do throughout the last 18 months, leading up to both Brexit and the COVID impact. We've had to mobilise a number of sites leading up to the Brexit exercise on New Year's Eve, both in Warrington and Birmingham. Some of those sites were mobilised within a 4-week period, just leading up to Christmas and into the New Year's Eve period. We had 24-hour working in relation to those sites, and the sites were fully commissioned leading up to Christmas Day and on to New Year's as well. We ensured to reduce cost and provide value for money, that there was as much in-hours projects works in relation to carrying that activity out in relation to the ongoing site process. And notwithstanding those sites, we've had full maintenance service delivery across that time period as well. During the COVID period, the sites that we were responsible for, we've grown from 3 sites to 28 sites during that period. All of those sites have had asset surveys and been populated into an existing life cycle model. And over and above the new sites that have been mobilised, we've had 11 legacy sites that have been carried out and transferred into our operational responsibility over the Easter weekend period. And then just touching on some of the areas in relation to what we've had to do due to the COVID pandemic, we've had to enhance maintenance regimes across all of the buildings. Some of the buildings are occupied, some less so, and the maintenance regimes have been tailored to ensure that there's no detriment to the ongoing health and safety of the building as they go. Our staffing resources have increased by over 500% during that pandemic period, and we've ensured that we have had the social value commitments in relation to that as well, and numerous apprentices have been employed on the contract over that time. I now pass over to Pam and then subsequently to Simon just to finish off the presentation.
So what's next? We continue to mobilise and we start the planning for reoccupancy and working with HMRC to support hybrid working. The months ahead will be focusing on how we redesign services and traditional models to ensure we continue to deliver affordable first-class services in a changing FM world. We are exploring technology and understand new occupancy and building flows while supporting desk booking systems and future social distancing needs. By using accurate data to understand usage and heavy footfall areas, we can proactively continue to improve infection control whilst redesigning alternative operating models that deliver on standards and price, whilst continuing to provide HMRC colleagues with the confidence of a safe workplace. I will now hand back to Simon.
Thank you, Pam. So, just a quick summary and lessons learnt from this session. Firstly, for me, what I've seen is an ability to work with Atalian, Servest and our other key partners to effectively enable transformation and not just deliver a business as usual operation. That's been excellent. The work collectively to deliver safe working environments, we've really ticked the boxes there, but there's no let up, and we will continue, no doubt, as will many of you, to focus on that for quite some considerable time to come. And thirdly, we wouldn't be where we are today without the innovation and flexibility through the partnering arrangement that we've adopted and developed together with our suppliers. And long may that continue. So thank you all for listening.